Hi everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Empowerment English. I'm Mia.
And I'm Alex. Have you ever paused mid-sentence searching for the right English word, only to realize you're still translating in your head? What if you could just think directly in English?
But today we're going to share a simple 3-step strategy to help you stop translating and start thinking naturally in English.
Exactly. You know that feeling when someone asks you a question like, "How are you?" and your brain takes a second to catch up. Our goal is to help you move past that so English becomes second nature.
By the end of this episode, you'll have practical tools to make thinking in English feel more natural and effortless. Let's get started.
So, Mia, why is it so helpful to think in English?
First, it speeds up communication. When you think directly in English, you respond faster without that awkward pause to translate.
Right. And it also makes your English sound more natural. Instead of translating, you'll start picking up on common phrases automatically. Like if someone says something funny, you'll naturally think, "That's funny," instead of trying to translate the joke first.
Exactly. And it's especially useful in real-life situations if you're traveling and need to ask, "Where is the bathroom?" Thinking in English helps the conversation flow smoothly.
And most importantly, it builds confidence. The more you think in English, the more comfortable you'll feel speaking it.
Now, we know thinking in English is important, but let's be honest, it's not always easy to make the switch. What makes it so challenging for many learners?
One of the main reasons is simply the habit of thinking in our first language. It's what our brains are most used to.
And sometimes when you're learning, you might not know all the specific English words you need to express a certain thought, so you naturally revert to translating.
Right? And then there's the fear of making mistakes, especially with grammar. A lot of learners get stuck overthinking the rules instead of just letting their thoughts flow in English. All right, let's get into our 3-step strategy for thinking in English. The first step focuses on thinking in single words. The goal here is to build a direct connection between objects, ideas, and their English words.
That's right. It's best to start small, and this is a fantastic way to do that. Look around you right now. What do you see? In your head, try to name each object in your surroundings in English.
So if I'm looking at my desk, I think desk, computer, mouse, chair.
Exactly. And as you continue to do this throughout your day, it starts to become a habit. These English words will just start popping into your head automatically. Telephone, pen, notebook, whatever's around you.
That sounds simple enough. And what kind of words should people start with?
Start with everyday objects, things like table, chair, book. Once you're in the habit of that, you can start to include action words. So if you see coffee, you might first think coffee and then progress to drink coffee or coffee.
That's a great progression. And where and when can people practice this?
You can do this anywhere, anytime, while you're walking on the bus, waiting in line. And it's especially helpful to practice at home when you wake up in the morning and before you go to sleep at night. Just take a few moments to mentally label everything you see around you.
A fun way to reinforce this is by putting physical labels on things in your room, like sticking a note that says window on the window.
Seeing those words daily really helps them stick in your mind. Let's move on to step 2. What's next in our strategy?
The second step is to think in sentences. But how do we move from just thinking single words to forming full sentences?
Once you're comfortable with individual words, start forming simple sentences. Try describing what you're doing, seeing, or feeling using basic structures.
Here are 3 easy sentence patterns you can use as templates. The first is I am, followed by a feeling or state like I am happy, I am tired. Then there's I see, followed by what you observe, such as I see a tree or I see a car. And then finally, I want, followed by something you desire, like I want coffee or I want to sleep.
Perfect. These simple patterns make it easier to think in English without translating.
But how do learners move from basic sentences to more detailed thoughts?
A great question. One of the best ways to do this is through daily narration, basically describing your day to yourself in English. Start with simple sentences, then add more details. Let's take a simple morning plan as an example. What's one thing you might think about in the morning?
Maybe I will drink coffee.
Exactly. Now, to make it a bit more descriptive, you could say, I will drink a hot cup of coffee. Just that small addition makes the sentence richer and more natural.
So the key is to build up details step by step.
Yes, you can start in the morning when thinking about your plans. Instead of just, I will eat breakfast, try, we'll eat a healthy breakfast with fruit. Then, as you're actually eating, you might think, I am eating a bowl of oatmeal with blueberries. Each step deepens your thinking in English.
That's a really great way to strengthen English thinking habits.
Oh, exactly. You can even do this while walking. Instead of just thinking, I am walking, try, I am walking to the store, and then I am walking quickly to the store because I need milk. It's all about gradually expanding your thoughts.
I like that. It's an easy way to train your brain to think more naturally in English.
And now let's take it one step further. The third strategy is thinking in conversations. This means mentally rehearsing or imagining everyday interactions in English.
So kind of like role playing with yourself.
Exactly. Start by picturing common situations, like ordering food at a restaurant. Think about what the waiter might say. What's a typical question they ask?
Something like, what would you like to order?
Right. Now, instead of translating, just think of your response directly in English. I would like a sandwich, please. Then imagine follow-up questions like, anything else? And you could reply, no, thank you.
That's a great way to prepare for real conversations. What are some other situations learners can practice?
Meeting someone new, imagine introducing yourself and having a simple chat.
Like, hello, my name is, and how are you?
Exactly. Then, as you get more comfortable, expand the conversation. Imagine different scenarios and responses. This will help you feel more prepared and confident when speaking with real people.
That's such a useful exercise.
It's completely normal to face some challenges when you start trying to think in English.
One of the most common struggles is still feeling the need to translate everything in your head.
When that happens, try to consciously focus on just labeling objects in English or forming very short, simple sentences. It takes practice to break the habit of translating.
Another challenge is worrying about grammar mistakes.
When you're just thinking to yourself, try to let go of that worry. The goal is to get your thoughts flowing in English. Accuracy will improve over time.
And sometimes you might forget English words you want to use.
If that happens, try to use simpler English words you do know to explain what you mean. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you can think, the cold place where I keep food. Don't let it stop you from thinking in English.
Remember, every small effort you make to think in English is a positive step. Be proud of yourself for trying.
It's about progress, not perfection. Celebrate those moments when you realize you thought of an English word or a short sentence without translating.
And don't be afraid of making mistakes. They are a natural part of learning. Keep going, and over time, thinking in English will feel more and more natural. Let's take a moment to boost your English vocabulary with some key words and phrases from today's episode.
Second nature means something that has become so ingrained that it seems automatic or effortless. Example, our goal is to help you move past that hesitation so English becomes second nature.
Awkward pause means an uncomfortable silence, often while someone is trying to think. Example, when you think directly in English, you can respond faster in conversations without that awkward pause to translate in your head.
Effortless means requiring no physical or mental exertion. Example, by the end of this episode, you'll have practical tools to make thinking in English feel more natural and effortless.
A pick-up on means to notice or learn something without really trying. Example, instead of mentally translating, you'll start picking up on common phrases and expressions automatically.
Instantly means immediately. Example, if you can instantly think, where is the bathroom? Instead of translating, the conversation will flow much more smoothly.
Revert to means to return to a former state, condition, or practice. Example, when you're learning, you might not know all the specific English words you need, so you naturally revert to translating.
Pop up means to appear or occur suddenly. Example, these English words will just start popping up into your head automatically.
To reinforce means to strengthen or support. Example, a fun way to reinforce this is by putting physical labels on things in your room.
A stick in your mind means to be easily remembered. Example, seeing those words daily really helps them stick in your mind.
A build up means to increase or accumulate. Example, so the key is to build up details step by step.
Gradually means slowly over a period of time. Example, gradually as you get more comfortable, expand the conversation. Imagine different scenarios and responses.
Rehearsing means practicing something, especially in preparation for a performance or event. Example, the third strategy is thinking in conversations. This means mentally rehearsing or imagining everyday interactions in English.
This brings us to the end of another episode of Everyday Empowerment English. Thank you so much for tuning in and learning with us today.
We really hope you found our 3-step strategy for thinking in English helpful. Let us know in the comments which of the 3 strategies we discussed are you most excited to try this week.
Remember, even a few minutes of focused effort each day can make a huge difference.
If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and share.
See you next time on Everyday Empowerment English. Keep thinking in English.